There we go. We are live, finally. You'll have to excuse the leaf blowers in the background. Yeah, those gas-powered ones were banned years ago, but you hear them every day, so I apologize for the sound. Also had some mic issues last night, so the new ones are not fully charged. If you're watching on the playback. And I'm standing, not sitting. Yep, we got it all. Hold on. Yeah. Yeah, this is in my old neighborhood, but it's actually very close to where I live now. I've lived in this neighborhood like 4 times. I actually owned a townhouse in this area a long time ago. And we got some Santa Anas kicking up right now, just a little bit. It sure does, Kellyanne. Yeah, I've got no place to sit down here, so I'm standing. But I wanted to get out here because there's some really good news about this house, things that have happened since the HGTV remodel of the house, where they built the extra level on the back side. They actually added to the house and made it an actual match, as close as they could get it to the one that was on Paramount Stage 5, because the actual house doesn't look anything like it. In fact, that window, until recently, up on the top, that was always a fake that you saw on TV in the intros or between scenes. But now there's actually a real window there. That was always a fake that had been nailed up there for those opening shots. And can you hear me through the new microphones? I had a microphone accident last night. The phone, right after the live, I got tangled up in the cord. It hit the floor and the receiver broke. And I couldn't place the receiver without replacing everything. The mics, even the adapter got bent. Yeah, exactly. You can hear fine. Okay. Yeah, on my channel, I have a couple of videos from out here. I can link them in the description once I get all this uploaded. But I actually knew Sherwood. I met Florence once. A lot of people, a lot of walkers and dog walkers and airport traffic, and we're still on reverse ops right now due to the winds that are coming. But I'm glad you can hear me fine, because these new mics are not fully charged, and then I have another set that's coming from Amazon later today, so I won't be able to be out here for too long. I'm right down the street actually from my mailbox, which I probably should have stopped at, because they'll close like by 6. But since I'm standing and I don't have my iPad to look at, like if I could just transmit and sit in my car, I mean, I could do that with the tripod outside my door, but I don't want anybody to run it over. So I wanted to get a good opening shot, and I forgot to take a thumbnail, but I'm sure I can find one. But yeah, lots happened with this house this week. Major news for this house. Well, let's see if we can get anybody to come in. I don't think a lot of people want to watch anything about the Brady Bunch in 2026, but for those of us who have either lived in this neighborhood or have lived in this neighborhood, this house is very close to our hearts, including myself. And it's funny, the first time out of 4 that I lived in the neighborhood, I didn't even realize that I lived in the Brady Bunch house neighborhood. In fact, when they did the HGTV series, which a friend of mine actually worked at for security, one of my PI buddies and comrades, I was going through chemo. So I came out here with my sister, who was visiting LA on occasion, and They had it all decorated for Christmas. Yeah, I got a little short, I think, on that somewhere. I hung out with Florence for about an hour in Disney World. She and I were waiting in line for the tiki room. She was chatty and so sweet, standing by herself like me. So we sat together at right. Oh, nice. Yeah, I've met her too. 1984. Very sweet, but nothing like Carol Brady. uh, it's funny when they did the HGTV series starting in 2019. Mike Lokenland, who played Bobby, he said, I didn't even know where this house was. And I just thought that was so weird that he would say something like that. Oh, you said 1977. Okay. Yeah, I saw her in 1984. That was right before she got remarried. And then I'd have to look up the year that I met Sherwood, but it was he was 84 at the time, and he lived to be 94. So if you look up his death and subtract 10 years, that's when I met Sherwood. We actually had a 3-hour lunch together, which he paid for, and he was the best, the absolute best. He lived to be super old, and he was just a wonderful guy. We hit it off immediately. That's one of the best days of my life. My 3-hour lunch with Sherwood. Yes, he did. I was let in on all the secrets. Yeah, mine too. He was such a sweetheart. He was funny. Funny as funny. Funny AF is all I can say on here. Hey, you guys, 7 people watching, can you hit that thumbs up? Ooh, yeah, it was cool. I'll never tell. I got Gilligan's Island secrets and Brady Bunch secrets. I knew most of it too, because every time he tried to give me a piece of trivia that he thought I didn't know, I already knew it. Then he was like, he just kept digging deeper and deeper and deeper, trying to find something that I wasn't aware of. But yeah, they just put the car out here. This is an old Plymouth. I'm not sure the model. Need to look that up. And I don't know if it's exactly the same one. I don't think it is the one that Carol drove, because it was a different body design, I believe. I'd have to look at some of the older episodes. I think the back was a little bit more squared. Oh, wow, that's cool. Oh, I bet. You know, when they did the HGTV series, when HGTV bought this house, and by the way, I knew the family a little bit. I knew of them, the McAllisters who owned this house. The lady that lived here was Violet McAllister. And she became a widow. She was the second owner, actually. There was the first owner who was widowed, became a widow, and then there was the second owner who moved in who was widowed. And she just got super old. She used to drive a caddy that was parked out in the driveway that said Violet Mac. Now the driveway actually is fenced off, which it wasn't before. And there was a big fence that she had to put in for security. But when HGTV came out here, actually it was right before the sale, they took the fence and the brick, everything that was blocking the front. She took all that, they took it down. And I don't know if that was right before her death or right after her death, because she was just really super old. So I don't know if she had to go into a nursing home first, but her family took down the fencing. And then there was a big auction, like people, well, not an auction, but people outbidding each other. And Lance Bass thought he had the place, but at the last minute, HGTV came in and won the bid. And they don't own it any longer. There's a lady around my age that I think she's around my age. She might be a little older than me, who owns it now. And she said she has no idea what she's going to do with it, but there's like tours and stuff sometimes. But what's really cool about this house, let me tell you the big news. That's why I'm here. Uh, on Wednesday, I believe it was, the LA City Council voted this house as a historic monumental landmark, something like that. So this is a historical landmark now, and it means there's very specific rules in the future about what can or cannot be done to this house. And it's really cool because the whole house has been redesigned, including there's an extra story on the back that you can't see because of the sloped roof. Because the only upstairs of this house was a split level. So if you see the window on the front upstairs, that was fake in the series. There was no window. But once HGTV came out here and redid the house, they did install a window there, and there's a second level that's on the back. So there's actually the Brady Bunch stairs, although they don't look as long and as tall as the ones in the series. And there's a girl's bedroom, a boy's bedroom, the bathroom, the shared, bathroom between the boys and the girls. There's a master, all the furniture, everything from the kitchen to the dining room to the family room. They got items. They crowdsourced the items all over the United States to have people help find things for the house. Little accessories or appliances or toys or games, or they even have the stack of cards where they were building the card house in the living room. They have the TV. They have the horse on the little buffet next to the stairs. They have kitty carryall in the back. They've got Tiger's doghouse. They've got the teeter-totter that Bobby and Cindy tried to set the world's teeter-totter record on. I think they have the swing set now too. But this house has a very it's a weird lot. It's not a rectangular or square-shaped lot. It's considered an oblong lot. This house was custom built because the original owner that built it, their house was being destroyed for the construction of the 101 freeway, which is so funny because years later in the 90s, they did an episode that was similar to that about how this house would have to be moved. But yet the people that built this house because their house was moved. And then that guy passed away while he and his wife lived in the house. She had one son, it was his stepson. And eventually he went off to college and it was just too much for her. So she sold it to the McAllisters. But I believe Violet was already a widow. And she has a son, George, who I came very close to doing business once with. But I can't go into that. So I never actually got to meet him, but he was supposed to contact me over something that was going on in Studio City at the time. So I won't be out here very long. People can watch it on the playback. What was your favorite episode? Does anybody have a favorite episode? I remember that from the laundry room. Yeah, and they went into the kitchen. My favorite episode was To Move or Not to Move. And it was so funny when I had my lunch with Sherwin 10 years before his death. We talked about that in a restaurant. And we both yelled out at the same time, remember, haunted houses just aren't selling a lot lately. And then everybody looked at us and we just laughed. It was so funny. We were quoting the lines, some of the script from that house in the restaurant. And we both blurted out the exact line at the exact same moment. Yeah, Marcia got hit in the nose. And the night that aired, earlier in the day, she was driving home from set. She was old enough to drive at that time, and she was driving home from set. And Susan Olsen was riding in a car behind her with her mother, and Marie McCormick had a car accident and broke her nose. The exact same day that episode was going to air that evening about the nose. I always like the ones where Jan and Peter were feeling put upon on like outsiders. Oh, you mean George Glass, one where Jan had a fake boyfriend. Yeah, that was it. Well, this is tough for me standing here as long as I've been standing with my cane, more than 15 minutes. When they went to the Grand Canyon or Hawaii, that was cool. Yeah, absolutely. And when you see Greg wipe out in that surfing accident in Honolulu, in Oahu, he actually did really wipe out, and they kept it and put it in the series. where Marsha and Greg moved upstairs. Yes, I know. I don't think they built the attic though when they did build the second story that's on the back. And they finally put the window because there's actually a bedroom right here where this, where the fall window was on the series, and then no window in real life. And then with the reconstruction, the renovation, then they put in a window. That was the master in this house. The giant spider on Peter. Yes. That was at the hotel in Hawaii. Well, really, it was on the set of Paramount. But yeah. Marsh met Davy Jones. Yes, she did. And in that episode, Kellyanne, there's a guy in there that's his manager, and he's snapping his fingers, and he's like kind of dancing to the beat. That guy is Mr. Brett Leach, and he's been a good friend of mine for many years. But he and his wife retired, and they moved out of L.A. But yeah, look up Brett Leach. That's my buddy that's in that episode. Where the Silvers Platters sang. Absolutely. Because Jan thought that the inscription of the plaque or the platter was for all of their names, but it was by the letter. Wow, we have a plane flying over, but it's about 30 or 40,000 feet just passing over. And I can't look up on my flight aware to see who she is. Yeah, but mine is to move or not to move. And it's so weird every time I see that now to think that I was sitting there in a restaurant in Studio City with Sherwood, and we were reminiscing over that episode, and we were going over the lines together like we were running lines, It's crazy. More than 30 years later, we were running lines from that episode, and we blurted that out about haunted houses just aren't selling so good lately. And we couldn't stop laughing. And I'm sure nobody knew what we were talking about. Like, what? Who are those people, and what are they talking about? I did know the doll's name because they have it here in the house. But when you said Mrs. Beasley, oh, it was Kitty Carryall. You're thinking of another show, Mrs. Beasley. Kitty Carryall, where they pretended it was haunted. Yes. I think Mrs. Beasley might have been from Family Affair. I'm not sure. I'd have to look that one up. But the Brady Bunch doll for Cindy was Kitty Carryall. Yep, Family Affair. The stepmother of the guy, Brian Keith, who's in Family Affair, who plays Mr. Davis, his stepmother is the woman who jumped off the Hollywoodland sign in the 1930s. I have a video on that. Hey, how you doing, man? What is her name? She's going to be in my live YouTube video. What's your name? Grace. Hey, Grace. You're live on YouTube at April Davis PI.
I live around the corner.
Oh, you do?
She doesn't know what kind of house this is.
Nice to meet you. What's your name, man?
Ocean.
Ocean. I'm April. I'm April Davis PI. We're doing a YouTube live right now.
Nice.
No. Yeah, you're on it now, Grace.
Let me follow you.
Yeah, follow me. April Davis PI. Nice to meet you, Grace.
Nice to meet you too.
Hey, that's Ocean, everybody. Yeah, you guys can stand in front of the camera and say something if you'd like.
Okay. Type your name.
Oh, okay.
It's YouTube.
I'm going to type my name into Ocean's phone. Yeah, I've got 2 old videos from this house.
You don't know this house?
I used to live in this neighborhood. Now I live about a mile away.
Do you? Cool shirt. You're a jazzy lady.
Oh, that's from my Warner days. There we go. That's me.
Subscribe. Why didn't you hit subscribe?
Oh, well,
get a like.
I'll leave that up to you.
This is all you?
That's me. I didn't do a thumbnail yet.
Okay.
But I will.
So I can support you.
I'll do that tonight.
You're cool.
Nice to meet you.
I love your shirt. I'm serious.
Bye, Grace.
Thank you so much.
Nice to meet you guys.
She's visiting.
Oh, she's visiting? Where are you visiting from?
Oh, Florida.
Florida. See you, Ocean. There's always something going on at this house. Well, I just got a subscriber out of that. Okay. I missed something. Who was a pedo? The guy on Family Affair? That's creepy. I don't know who you're talking about. Definitely nobody from the Brady Bunch. Oh, the Family Affair's dad? I'd have to look that up. Not that I know of. I know that he unalived himself just like his stepmother, who was the girl that jumped off the Hollywoodland sign. She jumped off the letter H. It was around 1930 or so, 1932, something like that. Yeah, the anniversary of that is September. It's been like over 80 years. No, it's not tiger barking. The real tiger was run over by a truck the day before they had to shoot the episode about tiger running away from home. That's another good episode, too, because Alice thought that perhaps some burglars had lured Tiger away because there had been burglaries in the neighborhood. And Peter and Greg overheard the parents and Alice talking about that. And they used the word robbery rather than burglary and said if there was going to be a robbery that night, they better be prepared. And Alice darn near gets herself killed by Robert Reed or actually by Mike Brady with a baseball bat. Oh, you had a crush on Peter. Yeah, Peter's cute. I kind of like Bobby because he was the closest Brady boy to my age, but Bobby was a dope. And it didn't surprise me when they did the episode out here, or not the episode, but they did the series, the HGTV series, The Real Bobby. Mike Lookinland said, "Oh, I didn't even know where this house was." And he's had quite a bit of trouble over the years. And I thought, wow, is he a dope just like Bobby? Sorry, Mike, if you're watching. Yes, his hair was dyed, and it was a terrible dye job. And then they kind of let it go natural as the series went on. The real cute one was Bobby's real life brother, who was going to be in the spinoff, The Kellys. But that never came to fruition because they did The Kellys as a backdoor pilot. So that means it was the pilot, instead of airing or being accepted and then coming on as the first episode of a new series, it came on the back door during season 5 of the Brady Bunch. And in my opinion, backdoor pilots, that's the kiss of death when they do that. But Todd was he was the cute one. Was Mike's real life brother. And I think Todd was a lot closer to my age than Mike. You know, in that episode, I did see the first one, the HGTV series, because I didn't have cable at that point because of my illness and everything. But I did eventually see the series or 1 or 2 episodes on YouTube. And my old townhouse that's in this exact neighborhood, you know, about 2 blocks from here, was actually in the episode. And I'm trying to remember, I think it was Maureen McCormick and Eve Plum. They were like in a, you know, like not a limo, but a blacked out, you know, SUV. And they drove right by my house. It's so funny. They drove right by my house to get here. And I was like, oh my God, my house is in the Brady Bunch. But I didn't live there anymore at that time. I'm still about a mile away. I'm very, very close. But it still technically feels like a different neighborhood. That's going to be funny to watch this back and see Ocean and Grace make an appearance. Yeah, and I'm doing this vertical too, but I'm not getting a lot of people like I am with the Nancy Guthrie series. So it's funny what YouTube puts out there and what they don't. It would have helped to put I realized driving over here that I didn't have the thumbnail yet. And the sun's already setting. We get early sunsets here. So I was like, oh, I better just keep going. Oh, Cousin Oliver. The kiss of death when they bring in the little kids in the final season it's called Cousin Oliver syndrome. It's kind of like the Happy Days jump the shark moment. That's the thing in the industry, and Cousin Oliver syndrome. Hey, Jason E. Miner. It's funny because I have a friend, a very good friend, and all of her kids were in show business. 2 of them still are. And her little girl came in to a very, very popular 1990s, 80s, 90s TV series in season 6. And I was like, usually when they bring in the little kids, it's the kiss of death. But she was so good that she carried the show on her back for another 2 years. And that's the only time I've seen that happen that I can think of, was my friend's daughter being on a very, very popular show. And instead of, being the Cousin Oliver, the female version of Cousin Oliver, she kept the show going. And it's funny because they brought in another kid at the same time who went on to become one of the biggest movie stars of all time. So that didn't hurt either. But yeah, I hated the Cousin Oliver episodes. And quite a few of them, Robert Reed wasn't even in, including the last episode because of arguments that he was having on the set with the producers. So Robert Reed never got to be on the last episode. In fact, he was almost arrested on the set. And the guards were actually coming up to handcuff him when Sherwood said, no, don't do that, because those kids are that's like a dad to them, like in real life. He was like a surrogate father. He even traveled with them, took them to England on a ship and bought them Super 8 millimeter cameras and film cameras. So yeah, he never got to be in the last episode. Well, he was a Shakespearean trained actor, and he was contractually obligated to Paramount and did the pilot thinking it would never get picked up. Kind of like there was an older actress who played Mrs. Howell on Gilligan's Island, and the only reason she flew from New York to Hawaii to do that pilot is because they were paying for her ticket, and she had never been to Hawaii before. And, to her horror, it got picked up, as to Robert Reed's horror, Brady Bunch got picked up. That's pretty funny. But yeah, he managed to do all the sequels except for the Brady Brides. But he did the movies. He did the 90s series, which was god-awful. What was cool about that, though, is Bobby Brady, who's been in a wheelchair, he got married to the woman who was on MTV, Martha Quinn. Not in real life. Lovey Hal, yes. Her real name is Natalie Schaefer. Yeah, he was in a wheelchair because in one of the movies he got paralyzed in a race car accident. Not in real life. And then he got married to a character that was played by Martha Quinn. I remember when she was one of the rookie DJs for MTV. And she spent the last 20 or 30 years living out on the beach in Malibu, I think, so. Yeah, she married a rock star or something in real life, not Bobby Brady. I might have to move this tripod at a certain moment so that I can get in the car, roll down the window, and still talk to you guys. Yeah, I probably should have done the thumbnail before this. And when I do the description, because I can't do the description until after in the lives, I'll link the other videos that I have. One of them did really well. The first one, even though I didn't even know how to edit, it did pretty well. The second one is when HGTV had the house up for sale. And I know about selling properties in this neighborhood because I've sold 2, and I talked a lot about that, but it didn't do so well. But I'll link them in the description later on. So you guys, I think a lot of people answer the question that their favorite episodes are Grand Canyon and Hawaii. Those were really good. I think it kind of sucked when they went to Kings Island in Ohio. There's another one of those in Virginia, but I've never been to the Virginia one. I think that's what it was called. They almost got killed because the roller coaster, they were going to ride it with the camera, and then they decided to do a test run without the cast in it, and the camera ended up being knocked off by some piece of iron, and they would have been like possibly decapitated had they done that scene. And Susan Olsen, she almost drowned in Hawaii. She didn't know how to swim, shockingly. Very shocking. And it was Florence Henderson who grabbed her out of the ocean. Oh, hey, Leanne. Yeah, I'm going to have to change my setup in just a moment here. Either that or just go off the air. But this car has been added not from the HGTV series redo or remodel. This has been added since the most recent owner bought the place from HGTV. And she's a very wealthy woman, apparently, and she said she just bought it because she could, but she had no idea what to do with it. But they have a lot of things that show up on TV and the internet that are filmed out here. But it was funny how most of the cast had, except for, I think, Chris Knight, most of the cast had never been here when they did that HGTV series. Off to retrieve DoorDash. Have a good one. Like the stroll down memory lane. Yeah. Yeah, I just take it for granted, kind of sometimes that I live here, which is crazy. I've lived in this neighborhood off and on since like the mid-90s. So over 30 years. The last 12 years I've been about a mile away, so. But my box is still in this neighborhood, and some of my actor friends are this neighborhood. So I'm here pretty often. But I like the fact that they've added the car, but like I said, I don't think it's the exact. It's not an exact match. And I'm pretty sure during the remodel they did, at some point, they got one that matches one of Mike's convertibles, and they built, they redid the garage in the back. So I think that car is sitting in the back. You can't see now because there's a big iron rock gate across the driveway. And then the houses to the right, which you cannot see right now in this video, they actually bought that too, HGTV, and they used that as like a production office, and they used, rooms for people to stay in. So they had a lot of equipment over in that driveway. All the production trucks are out on the street, but they had offices in the house next door. Yeah, I'm live. I'm live, Leanne. I'm here right now. But I like the fact when they redid it, HGTV, that they did finally put the real window in that in the series is only a faux window. It was fake. And I like the fact that they built the second story. It is on there, but you just can't see it from this angle. Because the only stairs that were in this house were for a split level for the master that's to the left. But there is a real set of Brady Bunch stairs. They're much smaller than the ones in the series. But it leads to the upstairs. And they, they crowdsourced for years. This didn't happen just overnight, even with HGTV, like spending millions to do what they've done with this. But it's taken years to get the cars and to get every single little item, from the countertops to the appliances to some of the toys to the bedding, the pillows, the lamps, the card table where they build the house of cards. It's dark here already. This is or that is so cool. Yeah, it is. L says, hi, I have what? Yeah, I don't see the rest of the message. Have you been here, L? And you know, the maps will tell you that this is North Hollywood, and that's correct and incorrect. This neighborhood is currently part of Studio City 91602. I'm also in 91602. But when they filmed the original exteriors, this part of Studio City was part of NoHo 91602. And now there is no NoHo 91602. It's either the small sliver of Studio City, West Toluca, which is not acknowledged by real estate, and Toluca Lake. So this is Dilling Street in Studio City. Yeah, this is walking distance from, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4 of my places that were in this neighborhood. Now, if I could walk a mile, if I didn't have bad legs, I could probably walk to my current place from here, but I wouldn't be able to walk that far now. Well, there's a lot of helicopter activity today. I've seen a couple of military choppers go over when I was leaving the lake house. Looked like some Apache helicopters, and I'm like, oh geez, where are they going? And on the FlightAware app today, I saw some Air Force cargo planes coming in pretty low, and they were coming from places very far from here, so something's going on. Yeah, YouTube's not bringing many people in for this, but I'm glad you guys came. Please give me a thumbs up. When I get back and I get this thing, start to processing, I'll put the links to the other Brady Bunch house videos in the description of this video. But please feel free to share this. You can always place in the comments what was your favorite Brady Bunch episode. As I said earlier, mine was to move or not to move. Everybody, have a good evening, and I will talk to you soon. Love you all.